This episode of the Infamous Podcast is brought to you by CBS All Access. Looking for a new streaming service to add so you can watch more stuff? Check out CBS All Access. Hit up infamouspodcast.com/CBS and you can get a free 1-week trial to CBS All Access and check out things like Star Trek Discovery, Picard, Survivor, all the other cool stuff that CBS has to offer. Star Trek Discovery, I said that already. You should really watch that. So hit up infamouspodcast.com/CBS to learn more. Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian, and with me is...
Darryl.
Dramatic pause. Darryl.
Yeah, well, I was going to go with the all right, but that didn't feel right.
No, it didn't. It really, I don't think you should ever do that again.
Hey, Matthew McConaughey would give me props for that.
He should be contractually obligated to say all right in whatever he's in. Just no matter how much it takes you out of the character, like in The Lincoln Lawyer in court, he should have been all right.
Or in Interstellar.
Yeah. I'm going to go through this black hole. All right.
Has he done anything in the last couple of years?
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff. He's like always doing stuff.
Serenity was in 2018, I think.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to look up IMDb because I don't care. But like in Wolf of Wall Street, even though he's only in it for like 5 minutes.
That was like, what, 2014?
I think so. You know that scene where he's like beating his chest? Like that was almost completely improv. In the scene where Leo looks at the camera, he's actually looking to Martin Scorsese with what the fuck is this guy doing? It's really funny.
I love hearing stuff like that about movies.
So I learned about that by watching the Rewatchables podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network.
By the way, I made a major fail. I went to go see the last movie he was in, The Gentleman.
Oh yeah,
that just came out in January.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So before we get started, special thanks to our patron Julian Brown. Patreon.com/infamouspodcast. You get access early. You get tons of cool stuff. Support the show. We have a very modest goal of $200 a month that we're going for. And if you do the $5 level, you can pitch an idea for us to do as a show, which I think could be fun. So anyway, all right. So this week we are talking about Warrior Nun, the Netflix original series. We are talking about the season 2 trailers that dropped respectively for The Boys and the Umbrella Academy. We've got
Umbrella
some
Corporation.
Yeah. We've got some Batwoman casting news for the series for Ruby Rose's replacement. And then Ava Duvernay made a really interesting tweet that we're going to talk about. And I'm going to let you take the lead on that one, my friend. So
you'll have to read the tweet because I don't have it.
I will definitely read the tweet, and then I will sit back and hear your opinion before I weigh in. All right. So starting with Batwoman, Variety reports that they have found their Ryan Wilder, which it looks like is going to be true, and it's going to be the first black actress to play the iconic role of Batwoman on television. She's a bisexual woman, so I'm sure she's going to be not gay enough.
Although she might have a little bit of armor because she is black. So
sure. So it is Javasia?
I just say Jay Leslie.
Yeah, Jay Leslie. I said Ms. Leslie. So when she's extremely proud to be the first black actress to play Batwoman, so you are the second actress to play Batwoman just in general. So, dude, they're doing awesome 50% representation. I have zero issue with this, by the way. They made a new character.
Which I like. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
All for this. And, since Ruby Rose stepped away, was fired, as some people are saying, I totally think she stepped away because I don't think she wanted to do network television.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm all for it. I'm 100% for this, right? Whereas where I think they got it wrong with Wally West, on the Flash, but they tried to do something that they did in the New 52, which again they got wrong. This is fine. This is great. I don't know anything. I haven't seen any of the stuff that she's been in. But I will say the picture that is in Variety, she has a whole lot of hair. So I'm not quite sure
where they're going to put that.
Where's it going to go? I'm interested to see, and I really hope they make some changes to the costume to accentuate her blackness.
They're going to have to.
I think looking at Deadpool 2, I think is the closest thing that we can make as a correlation to Domino with Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, I love her.
Well, I love her in everything she's ever been in.
Yeah.
Except for
great.
Joker, because that was a piece of shit movie that no one should love.
So how did you feel about the Joker?
Dude, it was a piece of shit movie that nobody should love. God, that movie's so bad. Oh, I just facepalmed myself. Anyway, but no, they did a really great job. They didn't paint her up white, all white, like Domino is in the comic with the little Dalmatian eye, thing.
And people were complaining about
right,
that.
But they
some
did
people,
give her the little
people.
white Dalmatian eye thing, little whatever birthmark, whatever it is. But they let her hair be natural. They just let her go and do her thing, and she was the best part of really a subpar Deadpool movie. So I don't know. I'll probably check it out to see how she does.
Okay, so here's my thing. I really like the idea about them going with a new character. Reading the character bio, I think it sounds interesting. It comes down to, and Jay Leslie, I don't know anything about her, but she definitely has an appeal.
Yeah, she's very pretty. She's very, very pretty. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, because the best part of Batwoman when I watched it before I just threw my hands up because the writing was so bad. That's one thing they need so bad and so hammy in so many ways, in the sense of throwing their agenda at you, which is and again, we'll talk about how you do a female-led show right when we talk about Warrior Nun, versus how they done Batwoman.
Right.
But with this new blood, I might check out. I'll probably check out the first couple episodes just to see if they've improved on the writing. Because again, Rachel Scarston, who plays Alice, who was Kate Kane's sister, was one of the better parts of the show. And then her relationship back and forth with Kate Kane was very good.
Yeah,
we'll see if these two, are they going to be, adversaries? I'm interested to see how they rework the whole, because all of season 1 was about these sisters that were, lost, that were separated, and one went through almost literal hell, versus Kate Kane and the guilt she had. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Ryan Wilder character fits into that dynamic.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm all for trying something new. Okay, so she was in a TV show called The Family Business, which I can't tell you what network it was on, but it had Ernie Hudson in it, so cool. And then she was in, most recently, God Friended Me.
Yeah, I DVR'd all of the first season of that and never watched an episode. So.
Okay, I don't even know what channel that one's on either. Oh, CBS. Okay. And that one's got Brandon Michael Hall. Who's he? I don't know. It's got 42 episodes. Nice. Yeah. Oh, he was the kid from The Mayor, and he's in Search Party, which is on HBO Max now. Okay. So, did you ever watch that, The Mayor? I think that was on ABC. It was one season where the black kid just randomly ran for mayor and won.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I was I have
the first episode was hilarious. Literally, it was a super funny pilot, and then it just got real dumb from there. I was kind of disappointed because I was all right, this is gonna be kind of an edgy thing, and then it wasn't. It was super milquetoast. Yeah. So all right. So cool. Batwoman, awesome. All right, so we got the season 2 trailer for The Boys.
Oh man.
All right, so back of the two season 2 trailers that dropped within a day of each other, did you prefer one to the other?
I think because it was more story, I preferred the Umbrella Academy's trailer. But for the visceral nature of it, the boys trailer was, you can't beat that.
So
I like.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So like overall, I thought the Umbrella Academy again, partially because it's a more full trailer about the story, so it was better in that sense to give me an idea of what's going on. The boys was more like highlights of what to expect. It wasn't really a story trailer.
Right. Yeah, so I like the Umbrella Academy one better because it's this month.
Yeah.
And like September 4th can't get here fast enough. I'm really interested to see with the boys season 2 the changes that they continue to make from the comic, because I think they have to. They can't go as far as the comic did. It just
they cannot.
Spoiler alert.
Black Noir, for example.
In the comic, Black Noir rapes Wee Huey. I don't think we're gonna get that. I don't think Prime wants to go there. I don't want Prime to go there.
I don't need that. No,
I
don't need that.
I'm really interested. I thought it was really interesting to see Starlight in the sluttier version of the costume. So I'm interested to see what's going on there.
Yeah, because it looks like she's back with the 7.
Yeah,
and and A-Train saw her helping Huey escape. So it's right. I will be curious to see how they kind of frame all of this.
Yeah,
back together.
So I'm curious. So in the comic, so Butcher doses Huey with Compound V, right? And he gains super strength, but all of the boys have super strength, because they took Compound V. And they took a pure version of it, so it's a permanent superpower. It's not something where they have to keep going back. The only one who didn't get his powers from Compound B was Mother's Milk. And honestly, like, if you guys want to know how Mother's Milk got his powers, it's way too disturbing to describe. You should go read the comic, or just kind of hit up Wikipedia or check YouTube. There's a couple really good videos there. But so I'm really interested to see that. As far as Umbrella Academy season 2, the difference that show took from the comic is great, and the fact that Gerard Way is so involved with the show, it's really cool how it's stuck to the spirit of the story. And my favorite part. My two favorite parts of the preview were, one, when Klaus was like, man, my cult is going to be pissed. I told them how they had till 2019, and 5 says, you have till Monday.
You got till Monday.
And then when 5 is going around and telling Hargreaves about what everybody's power set is, he gets to the rumor, and he's like, she can pretty much convince anybody to do anything. And Diego goes, yeah, but she never uses it. And she looks at him and goes, I heard a rumor you punched yourself in the face. And he punches himself in the face. He's like, crap. It's definitely going to have the comedy to it. And then we had Esther, or Hazel, sorry, in the past.
Yeah.
So
when I think of Umbrella Academy, I think of the Island of Misfit Toys.
Absolutely.
They are just so. It's just. I mean, they are just so out there. Like, their personalities. I mean, Rumor is probably. I would say she's the most balanced, but I mean, she used her powers consistently on her daughter. So, but I mean, it just works so well together. So I really, time travel stories sometimes are up and down, and I'm also glad Ben's back.
Yeah. Ghost can't time travel. Ghost can't time travel, and he's sitting right there. Come on. I mean, so I feel like Umbrella Academy does a great job with the humor, that it has to balance in the weirdness, whereas The Boys does a great job with balancing the darkness that modern superheroes would totally have. We saw Stormfront using lightning, so I'm that's the one I'm most interested about, because I don't think they're going to make her a Nazi. Which is
and they
fine.
already made her a her, so.
Which, again, whatever. I love Aya Cash, so like the more Aya Cash I can have in my life, I'm okay. But Stormfront predates the 7.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if she's going to be a new hero, or if she's one that they got, who's been around because she was in, or he, whatever, Stormfront was in a different superhero group that was always viewed as less than the 7. So yeah, interesting. It's very interesting. I'm excited.
I'm really excited. And again, I don't think I got to the point where they, where Stormfront came in, because I only read the first maybe 12, 14 issues or something.
It's in the like 3rd, maybe 4th trade. And if you guys want to catch up with this, I have links in the show notes to either go buy it or just shameless plug here. Check out our go to infospodcast.com/comicsology, and for both Umbrella Academy and The Boys, you can sign up for Comicsology free for 30 days, and you can read both books. And you can actually, and I have a link to the Warrior Nun Doria, because like I said, Warrior Nun Aurelia is not in print anymore. I went to look to see how much it was on Amazon. It's like $75.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
Or hit up your local comic book store. Use the comic book store locator. I'm guessing that you might be able to find them for cheaper. Probably with the show, they're probably marked up a little bit, but definitely worth it. All right, so let's talk about our last bit of newsiness, if you will. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
I'm not really ready to talk about this, but like, okay, so Ava DuVernay is directing The New Gods for DC. And I did send an email and I did not get a response asking for their thought about this tweet. So there was a woman who was named Nicole French who was going on Facebook because there's an editors group, and there was an editor there asking for black editors. Okay, that's harmless enough. I'm like, that's fine, right? Like, to me, that guy was just trying to build his network. Thoughts?
Oh, that I was kind of like waiting for just a dramatic pause.
So
I liken that. I'm not hugely like, that's something like, hey, visit your local black business or visit your local Asian business. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that.
To me, I took that as he was just, because he was an editor and he was just trying. So then a bunch of people were like, hey, you can't do that. Like, okay. So there's a couple things. One, he asked specifically for union editors. Okay. So he's above board, in my opinion, because like, you can't be like, hey, I want to go and pull in some, black editors who like can edit this, but don't have their card yet. Like, that's kind of against the rules. And the other thing is the union is going to make them hire the right person for the job. That's why that union exists. So then this woman went through and she was posting like all these people there were a bunch of white editors who complained. And, with the climate that we're in right now, I can kind of understand why they're complaining. And this woman...
I can absolutely see it.
This woman who claims to be an actress went through and, like, was highlighting all of these people's comments and their profiles, literally trying to get them canceled, which I found really distasteful. Because, again, I think... the original post, I feel like the intent of that was not like, hey, let's circumvent things. Let's do this or that. It's like, I feel like the guy was trying to network.
And I'm glad you mentioned the whole union editor. Because he was, I like that because
he did specifically ask about union. Okay. So then, and I have a link to this in the Bounding Into Comics I thought had the best balanced coverage about this. But then Ava DuVernay chimed in on Twitter about this, and she says, everyone has a right to their opinion, and we, black producers with hiring power, have the right to not hire those who diminish us. So to the white men in this thread, if you don't get that job, that you were up for. Kindly remember, bias goes both ways. This is 2020 speaking. Thoughts, Darryl, as a relatively young black man in America, what do you think about that comment?
So one of the things that, and again, you actually sent this to me, or you actually told me about the whole Terry Crews thing with Don Lemon. One of the things Terry Crews tweeted out was, we want to make sure that Black Lives Matter doesn't become Black Lives Better.
Yeah, right.
And this is one of those things that, first of all, why do you need to chime in on this, Ava? Again, yes, you have absolutely the right. Don't get me wrong. You're on Twitter. You can do whatever you want. That's not what I'm saying. But as a person in your position, putting yourself in a position, you're basically threatening people for having an opinion different than yours. Now, if someone said some, throughout some racial slurs or whatever like that, were really nasty about it, okay, whatever. But, I understand why these, some of these editors were upset. And again, it's partially because of the climate, and partially because in any situation, if someone says, hey, I'm looking for only this, and kind of like basically pushing you out of the way, people tend to get defensive about that.
Right.
It's a natural human reaction. It was like when Ava, what did you say when people complained about A Wrinkle in Time, which was a terrible movie? You said, well, this wasn't made for old white men. And again, I know I'm paraphrasing what she said, but she tried to deflect, and it wasn't just her, but tried to deflect the criticism of that movie as a movie just because, these critics were, old, quote unquote, old white men.
Yeah.
I have a serious problem when people try to deflect criticism. And so she's in kind of like the negative category for me anyway, because of that. And then to come about and kind of do something like this, it's not necessary.
Right.
You know what she could have said? She could have said something like you did. This is, in this time, we're trying to network a little bit more, understand your frustrations in the sense of, or not necessarily understand your frustrations, but we're not trying to.
I think understand your frustrations is a right way to put that. And I will say this in kind of defense of A Wrinkle in Time, because this was not the first time they've attempted to make that movie.
No, it's not. No,
Madeline LaEngle, who wrote the book, said that it is it's not a book that's meant to be on film. It's literally unfilmable, and it's not.
Yeah.
And because it's so trippy, and it's an okay book. I enjoyed it. I've read it a couple times. It won a ton of awards,
Right.
But like, again, in fairness, it's not something that translates to screen. It just isn't. And like,
it's not.
No matter,
I agree with that.
Like, no matter how talented you are as a filmmaker, and I think that was really her first foray into sci-fi. Like that's a rough one to try and cut your teeth on first, and two, it's just like, it's not gonna be good no matter who did it, plain and simple.
Yeah, and again, it's like that whole threatening thing, and this is the problem. I've told you before. I don't use the word hate. I don't like it. I think it's just people people overuse a lot of words, but I would say that there's nothing more I despise than this whole cancel culture, and that's what she is playing into that by saying, hey, you know what, you can have your opinion, but just remember, we remember what you said. So the idea that you can't have an opinion that goes contrary to what some of these people think, and again, not anything like really divisive, it's an understandable opinion. If Ava just stood back, and if some of these people, and what was the person's name that started this, the actress, Natalie,
in quotes, Nicole French,
or whatever. So, you know what, instead of trying to play gotcha, which again, this is why I'm not on Twitter, because Twitter is full of idiots that try to play gotcha, and a lot of these idiots, and Ava, you played into that. In this situation, you're being an idiot. She's being an idiot, and that doesn't mean she is, all over everything she does. I've been an idiot doing stupid things too, or saying stupid stuff as well. So the problem is when you are in that position, and one of the things she's talking about, everything that's going on is talking about, how blacks are never, you aren't in positions of power, which again, that's bullshit. Just look around. And don't and are being discriminated against. What are you doing then if you're saying something like that? I mean, that's more than a veiled threat. And again, it doesn't matter who said that. And again, we're just talking about her, but it doesn't matter who said that. I would say the same thing, no matter who the person, even if it's somebody I really liked and really followed. Like, oh, and that's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask then. So DC recently fired the guy that plays the elongated man on The Flash for making racist tweets.
How many years ago? Yeah.
7 years ago. Whatever. 7-8 years ago. Marvel and Disney fired James Gunn for making a bunch of stupid tweets. And now he got rehired.
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Now, this is a current tweet. And the fact that DC hasn't done anything about this is really kind of interesting. Not because I think she should be taken off of anything. I don't agree with that. No. But at the same time, I feel like they do need to be like, hey, look, we are going to set a double standard for the time being for how people are treated with what they say and what they do. And you can either support our product or not support our product based on that and kind of own up to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's similar. It again, things like, I don't know if, what was that from? Predator 2, the door swings both ways.
Yeah.
I know I do these obscure quotes and people are sometimes probably listening like, what the hell? But it doesn't swing both ways in a lot of this.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. My mom asked the same thing probably. But I don't know if you heard about the Deshaun Jackson thing on Twitter.
Quoting Hitler. And the NFL actually put in a rule about not quoting Hitler in things because it was happening so often.
So you had a couple players speak out, mostly Jewish, Julian Edelman. I didn't know he was Jewish.
Yeah,
but the players union, all these players that were crying because of Drew Brees' opinion about standing for the national anthem, actually crying. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious, dude? And then not many of. And then I'm not going to even talk about Steven Jackson. That guy's certifiable idiot.
Well, I think are they the what's it called, the Black Israelites or whatever it's called, that group? I don't know. I don't know if they're a part of that or not, but
I just want to focus on that, the idea that there is absolutely a double standard and the door does not swing both ways, and that is more than anything what I want to see overall. In the sense of, and again, this we're talking about race here, but it can go with anything, and that double standard goes with male and female. It goes with rich and poor, and again, we obviously know there are double standards in quality as far as if you have money, you can get out of stuff if you don't have versus if you don't have money. We know that there's a double standard.
I just feel like it's a bad look for her. I feel like it's a bad look for her to do that, and it's like. She's an up and coming star director, who has the potential to be a Catherine Bigelow as far as being groundbreaking in women directing. And, she was talking about how, in one of the articles that there were, what was that, of the Academy films or whatever, there was a 14% representation for black people and only one woman being her. And it's like, okay, that's about right for the U.S. society when you're talking about percentages. But I don't think, I mean, I'm going to agree. I don't think that's enough. I mean, 13% of your characters shouldn't be, you shouldn't worry about that. It's like we say, it's what goes best with the story. And the best actor especially if it's a net new character, best actor who's available for the part. I do think for things like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and you have to kind of stick to the source material there. Unless you're going to be use the multiverse black Superman, right? That's fine. Yeah. All for it. That's a cool ass character. But yeah, it's just like let's stop. Let's like please stop all of this. Like go about making good movies and getting better at your craft, which you seem to get better at. She directed Selma, which was a decent movie. And it's like she took her swing at a sci-fi film, and I feel like she missed. And I'm not excited about New Gods, not because of her.
I'm not either.
I'm just not excited for New Gods
because it's absolutely the material itself.
Yeah. So
it has nothing to do with her.
I like the New Gods when they were the Asgardians. When Kirby was at Marvel. Anyway, but
when New Gods was announced, it was kind of an eye roll.
Yeah,
I don't even know if they announced her before at the time.
They didn't.
Not interesting to me.
I feel the same way about the Eternals. Like I don't care about that. Like I don't
really care about that.
I'll wait till that hits the plus. So, but yeah, all right. Let's get into our main topic of the episode. A little thing called Warrior Nun, which you brought to my attention. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was able to watch through it twice because, but I'm going to read the summary because the summary is great. Warrior Nun revolves around the story of a 19-year-old woman who wakes up in a morgue with a new lease on life and a divine artifact embedded in her back. She discovers she is now part of an ancient order who has been tasked with fighting demons on Earth, and powerful forces representing both heaven and hell want to find and control her.
Wow, that sounds so trippy, man.
Sounds
and
so
cheesy.
Super cheesy. All right. This is based, like we said, is based on a comic book. The comic book takes place in New York. The TV show takes place in Spain.
Which I actually like that change.
I really did like that. The characters in the comic are all white. The characters in the TV show are very much a mixed bag of races, between Asian and Black and Middle Eastern and white, and actually Alba Baptista, who plays Ava, is Portuguese. So yeah. Ooh, so sexy. But anywho, just your initial thoughts after watching.
So it's funny because I think I told a couple people about this, where I said I was like, hey, what are you watching? I'm watching this Warrior Nun. First episode really got me into it. Alva Baptiste, like she encapsulated me like from the start. Just her personality and charisma got me from the start. Then the second episode happened, and I was like, oh man, is this going to be another October faction?
Is this a CW show?
Yeah. But from there, it just got better and better. I really liked the dynamic between these warrior nuns. They were like sisters and family, because in the sense of, they had each other's back, but they weren't, they would sometimes punch each other in the face.
There's one warrior nun, and the other ones were called sister warriors.
Yeah, sister warriors.
Who were warriors and also warrior nuns in waiting in a lot of ways, because they always did have like an heir apparent. So the warrior nun gets her power from a mystical halo, which is not in the comics, which is embedded in her back, pretty gruesomely, might I add.
Oh man, yeah.
But it shines with the light of God.
So yeah. So the sister nuns, and we forgot to say, they are a part of what they call the Order of the Cruciform Sword, which is
the OCS.
OCS, yeah.
And the Cruciform Sword is the sword that the warrior warrior nun uses to battle evil. Words is hard. Me am no speak. Anyway, but yeah, okay. So the main cast, and I feel like I'm gonna say real quick. Sister Camilla was a recurring cast, and I feel like she was so awesome she should have been on the main cast. So I'm gonna add her.
She absolutely should have been.
So our main cast is Alba Baptista as Ava Silva, Toya Turner as Sister Mary, aka Shotgun Mary, who is just a badass, and like honestly, like I could deal with like a spinoff series of Shotgun Mary just off doing her thing.
You know what's funny about that? Like the first episode, I don't know, she rubbed me the wrong way. I did not like
Well,
her.
she's supposed to. You're not supposed to like her until
yeah.
you find out like what her motivation is.
Yeah, well, even before I started liking her before that. It was just like that first episode. It's like, I don't like her.
So I almost texted you after watching the first episode, and I almost said Shotgun Mary is the knuckle puck kid from Mighty Ducks 2.
I don't remember that.
So
that
the kid that they found in East LA or whatever, West LA, playing street hockey with his brother and the black kid, the little black kid. Kenan Thompson.
Okay, yeah.
Right? That Kenan Thompson played him. Like, he was a loudmouth. He was a one-trick pony. Super one-dimensional character. And they started to show Shotgun Mary as a really one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
But she wasn't. So, all right. Sorry, go ahead.
Keep going.
No.
We'll go back.
Okay. So then we have Thekla Rutan as Julian Silvas, who is a tech tech CEO. She's a badass.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, she's like Elon Musk, but like heavenly. We have Lorena Andrea as Sister Lilith, who I love. Yeah, she was great too. And you thought she was going to be a villain the whole time. And they did a really great job keeping the ambiguity about her character going all the way through the end of the first season. And then you had Christina Tonteri Young as Sister Beatrice, who is my hands down favorite character in the show.
Absolutely.
You have Tristan Ulloa Ulloa as Father Vincent.
As Rupert Giles. Oops, sorry, Father Vincent.
Dude, he makes Ripper look like a giant wuss bag.
No, he does not.
Well, I'll get to why later, but
I'll get to why too. Why that's wrong. I don't
and then we had Sister Camilla, which is Olivia Declan, who should be in the main cast, and she was this strange mix of innocence and badassery that like I felt like was a really hard line to walk, and Olivia Declan did it amazingly.
She could have easily have been just the punchline.
Well,
because she's so inexperienced,
right? And by the way, we're gonna spoil the shit out of this show.
Okay, I wasn't sure how far you went.
So like at the end, right when they're in that kind of like final boss battle, when they're waiting for the recharge to happen, she's the one who shoots him in the back of the head with the bolt and then spits on him.
Yeah,
and it's like, where did that come from? Because when she came out like in the cat's cradle with the machine gun to like perpetrate their escape, like, I don't know. I loved Camilla. She was such a fun character. But yeah, and then it's a huge cast, and you've got Joaquin de Almeida as Cardinal Duarte, and all I could see was him in Fast Five. So Fast Five has ruined him for everything.
I thought I could not unsee him in that movie.
So, and then you had reoccurring, and you had Ava's little crew of, I guess, squatters is the best way. Was JC, Chanel, Randall, and Zori. And I will say this, I feel like they handled that group pretty well as far as like the diversity goes, because they're in Europe. So Emilio was, a person of color. Randall was a black kid. Zori was a uppity white girl, and then Chanel was the interesting one, because she's a trans actress. And at no point did they be like, oh yeah, this is our trans friend, which I thought was amazing. Like the way they just kind of seamlessly worked it in. And like you said, like when you were watching, it was like, was that a guy at some point?
Yeah.
And like, it really didn't click to me until Chanel helped her find her look. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, and
you made such a good point right there, is they didn't kind of like plaster it on billboards. It's one of those things that, again, we talk about this, and people say, with people like us that complain about some of the, virtue signaling and identity stuff are hateful. No, I love this show.
Yep.
And it's full of badass women.
Yeah.
But you know why I love it? It's the story came first.
Exactly. And I'm going to say, like, so Simon Barry was someone posted on Twitter about what are your thoughts on trans rights before the show even came out, right? And he posted like one of our reoccurring stars is a trans actress, and you know, it's no big deal. Like she's a great actress, and she was really good in the role. And you know, we don't feel the need to call it out because, you know, that's real representation. And, you know, again, like, why are you tweeting someone about that before you even watch the show?
I didn't.
And then
see, that's the thing. Yeah.
And then one of the responses was like, "Oh yeah, you're patting yourself on the back, but you just ruined it that you didn't call it out." It's like he was answering someone's shitty question in the first place. Like, and what's he like? He can't ignore that, unfortunately, and he can't say, "Just wait and watch the show."
Yeah,
so I don't know,
and that's the problem. Like, there's no way
I know you're off Twitter, and the only reason I'm on Twitter is because we do this show. But like honestly, hey Jack Dorsey, like you're always talking about like helping the world and things like that. Shut Twitter down.
In Twitter,
just shut it down.
Destroy
like,
it.
That'll be like it's the second smallest social network in the of the major social networks in the U.S. right now. Like its active daily user base is abysmally low, but because it's celebrities on there, it we have to talk. So we have to talk about it when we have to use Twitter as a thing. And I don't use Twitter as a source. Keep in mind, like if I see something on Twitter, I do go and fact check it. Like I go and try and find it. And if I can't verify from, you know, sources or things like that, I don't typically talk about it. Now, like the thing with Ava Duvernay, right? She tweeted that, like, but I'm not saying like DC like is going to get rid of her or anything like that because DC didn't give a comment about it, and nor should they get rid of her. But they also didn't give a comment about it. So, but like I don't know. I think one that was a real disservice to her name is May Simone Lifshitz, Lifschtiz, Lifshitz. Anyway, I feel like the person who made a big deal about that really did a disservice to her as an actress and really kind of shined a light in the wrong way on her when her performance
should speak for itself.
Awesome. She was a great character. Yeah. And honestly, if she would have stuck around more, I would have been completely fine with that. The other three of those chuckleheads could have just fucked right off and I'd have been fine.
Yeah, they sucked. And one of the things I did read about her, because I actually, when I looked it up, because I wasn't, and one of the things she said, and I don't have the quote, was that she was very impressed and happy that they didn't kind of like call it out in the show.
Yeah.
And if I was in that situation, I would feel the same way. That's not something. Let my abilities, let my talent speak for itself. So, you know, don't put me in this category because I am this or that. Yeah. That you're, you know, because that's one of those like underhanded compliments.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying, the virtue signaling of it all. All right. So back to meanwhile, back at the show.
I love this show though. It was so much fun.
It should have been 8 episodes. I feel like the Chuckleheads were 2 episodes too many. That should have been the end of the first episode, the second episode, and that was it with them. The other issue I had was Ava running away so much. I felt like that trope got a little old.
Yeah, that got old.
And I told you, I said, you're not going to like Ava at first. You're going to start to like her, and then you're really not going to like her, but then you're going to come completely around on her. And you know, that's a great arc for a character like that to go through. So Ava is a quadriplegic, when the show starts, who's dead.
Well, yeah.
So, murdered by the nun who was taking care of her in the orphanage because she was about to age out and she couldn't take care of herself. So this nun is a serial killer.
Yeah.
And
she was going to do it again.
She got. So when she tried to kill the little guy there, what was his name? Diego. Which Diego was great. Are you an angel?
So
I'll see you again in heaven. It's so sad.
That has to be, yeah. So the funny thing is about her getting her powers, that has to be one of the most jarring things. You go from being dead to phasing through walls.
Yeah.
Like
Super strength, being able to walk, feel,
yeah,
taste.
And it's I love that. And one of the things I did also like was and they didn't overuse it, which I thought they were, but they didn't, is her voiceover. Like just like listening to her thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah,
like did that really just happen?
Right. My one of my favorite things about the beginning though is when anytime there was food in front of her, when she first like woke up, she was shoveling food in her face as fast. Sometimes she was like, she was Homer Simpsoning it. Like literally she was like, oh, are you like a duck? Just swallowing things whole. Like when she's going like from the fruit to the croissant to the sweets. And then the one time when she reached for the plated macaroons and Chanel just pulled it away from her.
Yeah.
You know, so there was that. I feel like I'm glad I haven't seen any like, oh, she's a Mary Sue, because we got to see her actually go through some training. But she did not
her butt kicked.
She got her butt kicked a lot. But she did not, even at the end of the first season, she did not have a handle on the Halo yet.
No.
A lot of it was just instinctual. A lot of it was the Halo protecting her, which, you know, I think was good. There's been a lot of comparisons to Buffy with this show, saying this is like the real like Buffy reboot that we're going to get. Which I agree and I disagree. I think it's very Avatar-ish as far as The Last Airbender goes. But yeah, I don't know.
Is that I would, but wouldn't you say, like, because I know you were telling me a little bit more about the actual source material was more Avatar-ish with
absolutely. So Aurelia is
the
nun, is the warrior nun, and she kind of when she needs to like kind of, it's almost like Doctor Who even, like she regenerates with a different like look and name. Because in the comic, Sister Shannon is the main character. And she is an orphan like Ava. Ava's not in the comic. The Halo is not in the comic. The comic is like hypersexualized, which is the other thing we were talking about, how like I feel like it was really cool that they didn't do that. The nuns got kick-ass armor with chainmail and leather.
Which it makes more sense that way too.
You know, I was telling you that there was a scene where in the background, one of the sister warriors was training, and she did have like the window cut out for the cleavage, which I felt like was kind of like a little Easter egg, funny like hat tip. And then there was another one that was training in the yard that was in like a midriff shirt, and these are all nuns. Keep in mind. I will say nuns are badasses in real life. My aunt, my great aunt was a nun in the Bronx for like 50 years. So yeah, she was awesome, and she was a great lady, and you know, I don't think she ever hit anybody's wrist with a ruler. So now here's the thing, like I made some fun of this show as I was watching it because I was raised Catholic. I was telling you, like I came up, there was a brief period there was like, oh, maybe I want to be a priest and like give my life to the church, and then it was like, oh wait, no, the church doesn't have anything to offer me. But I feel like the way they handled Catholicism was really interesting. I thought the conclave with the Pope was really rushed and weird, but at the same time, it needed
that was
to
a blink
be.
And you'll miss it.
Well, it needed to be because like it was an interesting story element that made the twist all the more important. Which maybe we shouldn't spoil the twist. No,
we shouldn't. I don't think so.
We shouldn't. But yeah, it was, you know, the demons, the idea of demons. You know, I saw people talking about this as a Buffy show, but it's almost more like of a Grimm. How she was the only one who could see the demons. The sister warriors couldn't see them, and she had to, you know, that was the whole thing. Like she had to be a leader so she could coordinate the attacks.
Yeah, that is actually, I likened it to Buffy probably because Ava reminded me so much of Buffy in a lot of her personality traits.
Well, I feel like she was a really interesting twist of Buffy, or a mix of Buffy and Faith.
Yeah, and you were talking about character growth. It's just funny that like all the main characters have like the main characters of Shotgun Mary, Sister Beatrice, Lilith.
We haven't talked about Beatrice yet, and that's on purpose because I want to talk about her.
But I love how they all have their moments, like where you see more behind the curtain, so to speak. Of, it reminds you that, hey, no matter how strong these people may be, or in this case these nuns may be, they are hiding pain.
Yeah, and
that's just one of those things that, again, not to get too syrupy, but that's when I think, before responding to someone in anger, you might want to just sometimes step back and just kind of understand that this person might be going through something. It doesn't excuse certain behaviors, but it should bring forth a little bit more empathy. And that's where I like this show, because it did that for me with, these characters being able to see what they were really like, just what's underneath the surface of, their badassery. There is pain there.
They talk about that and how they use that pain to be better. So Beatrice, my favorite character in the show, hands down. She was this super capable warrior, but at the same time, like, she had talked about why she knew so much stuff, and it wasn't like, oh, I know that convenient. She talked about how when she was in boarding school, she had to learn everything she could because she was at somewhat of a disadvantage. And the way, like, they talk about, like, in dialogue, they talk about all the different martial arts that she knows. So it was like, but then they told us that, but then at the same time they showed it to us. And I think the thing that really kind of set me off on her as far as like favorite character territory was the whole sparring session with Sister Crimson from the reject nuns. What did you call them, or what were they? The Black Nuns, who were just as ineffective as the Black Order in Infinity War. I mean, like, just as ineffective.
Absolutely.
But like, it was great because like when she's sparring with Sister Crimson, Sister Crimson obviously cheats and takes a cheap shot at her. And, instead of going after her, she holds the Sister Warriors back. She bows and she kind of limps off. And then later on, they have another
throwdown
engagement.
Yeah.
And she's like, Sister Crimson is like, well, I already kicked your ass once. And she has the best line in the whole show, where she's like, sometimes you have to lose a battle to win the war. And then proceeds to call her shots as she's trying to throw them at Beatrice. And actually, no, that was not the best line in the show. The best line was when they were in the tech company trying to steal the shield, or trying to steal the divinium back. And the guy's like, I'll shoot. Or he says, believe me, I'll shoot. And then she stops him, or he shoots her, and obviously she's got the armor on, but she takes him down and she goes, I'm in the business of faith. Why wouldn't I believe you?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that's so like on character for what this nun would say. All right. So, and then she wiped through, like, it was a very like Black Widow thing. Like that's what she reminded me of.
That's absolutely. And I love how she brought the chainmail, kind of like veil over her face before she started it.
Right.
Yeah,
that it was great when what was her name? When Jillian was like talking about hiring the mercenaries, when she's like, well, my security detail was taken down by a petite nun. So yeah. All right, the divinium. Let's talk about divinium for a second. Divinium does not exist in the real world. Obviously, the Halo doesn't exist in the real world.
It's like Avatar on Obtanium.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Which Avatar?
No, the James Cameron.
All right,
Avatar.
You have to preference. Like, so when you say Avatar, I think Airbender. But yeah, it's like vibranium. It's adamantium. It's some bullshit metal that has a very Sting quality to it when the Halo's around.
Yeah.
But
Sting from Lord of the Rings, in case no one got that.
If they didn't get that, like, I don't have anything for them. But anyway, but no, and so it's the only thing that can hurt the warrior nun. But then we also find out the warrior nun can destroy it later on, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's what was used to kill Sister Shannon, which I guess the reason Ava ended up with the halo was because Sister Shannon was assassinated, essentially. And when they went to take it out of her to put it in Lilith, the enemy, the bunch of mercenaries and a demon attacked, and the nun who was helping, with the transition, hid it in Ava, thinking, "Oh, I'll just hide it in this dead body," not knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because the human flesh kind of dampens the beast, the demon's ability to sniff it out. Not to mention the other made up material that I can't remember now that kept it completely hidden, which I don't know why she ever left anywhere without wearing that vest. So I don't know. What did you think about the use of that, the MacGuffin that it was, as far as like the weakness, as far as opening the gate to the alternate dimension?
Yeah. So I am a sucker for, fancy metals, like mithril and, all this stuff, because
sword.
Yeah. So, I play all these, all these RPGs over, and I don't mean now, I mean, like my whole entire life, I played RPGs.
Oh, yeah. You're an
so
RPG
you have all
fiend.
You have all these Phantasy Star from the Sega Master System, my first one. I still remember bugging my parents to get me that. That game was $70, and that was back in like the 80s. So
by today's dollars, that game would be $7,000.
You sounded like Dwight Schrute there.
$75 billion. Anyway, sorry.
So I'm a sucker for that, and again, this show, as much as I love it, obviously it's not perfect. There are several plots of convenience.
Yep.
And things, and again, that's always going to happen in shows like this.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so bad that it distracted me from what was going on. That it took away, I should say, what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
What I did like about that, I thought it was pretty cool. And again, we're not going to give away the twist, but thinking it was from one thing, and I guess we could give away. Do you want to talk? We could talk a little bit about Adriel.
Well, hold on, we'll get to Adriel, but like again,
okay.
Much like 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the heist, another twist that would make M. Night come in his pants. Because you don't see it coming.
What the twist?
But yeah, you don't. Did you see it coming?
I think I saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming until probably the meeting. And, like the meeting at the very end, like at the end of episode 9, I started asking more questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but up until that point, no. I mean,
no, absolutely not.
Because, but anyway,
what's funny? I actually said something to myself, like offhandedly, like, what if this happened? And it ended up, and it wasn't because I saw something.
Yeah.
It was just because I was like, hey, that would be a cool twist or something like that.
It was like when I saw Usual Suspects with my friends in the theater, and I called the shot that Verbal Kent was Kaiser Sose, just to be an asshole. I'm like, he's Kaiser Sose, guys. You know that, right? And they're like, oh, how did you know? And I made up some joke. And it's I was talking to my ass.
Yeah. And so, do you know Christopher Golden?
No.
He's a writer. He's done a plethora of stuff. But I first got introduced to him by this. It's called the Shadow Saga.
Okay.
Of Saint Shadow, and had a similar twist as this, in the sense of the Catholic Church. So vampires, what they call vampires, are actually shadows in this series. Spoiler alert of Saints and Shadows, and they are a mix of divine. Of heaven and hell.
Okay.
They're not, but they have all these weaknesses of the vampires, and the reason is back in the day the Catholic Church did kind of like a mass hypnosis, like they would capture these creatures and just put them through the ringer, because they couldn't really be killed except by a certain thing.
Yeah.
So the weaknesses they had, it was basically mind controlled. So it was that kind of twist and I don't know if it was because I was thinking of the Catholic Church during this whole thing that I thought about that twist, and that's what made me say that offhand comment.
Yeah.
That ended up being true, but it wasn't anything that the actual writing of the story gave away where I said, "Oh, this is going to happen."
Yeah. All right. So kind of based on that, like, let's talk about Lilith for a second. So in the comic, Lilith is a demon to start with, right? She
Which
is
her name, obviously.
right, and it's rumored that the original Lilith is her mom, because she's called Lilith the Demon Princess in the comic. In this one, she's a sister warrior, and she comes from a influential family who has given 6 warrior nuns to the cause, and she's supposed to be the 7th. And then she gets dragged to hell, which was a really cool scene. Like, that was a really, really cool thing. And you know, without that scene, like, I don't think the rest of the show is as interesting, because she goes away and you think she's gone, and then she kind of teleports back into the show when it's kind of the most important part of her coming back.
And what did you say? You don't know what she is or
right.
what happened.
No.
And that's and honestly, we still don't really know. Even again,
she had
we still don't really know what happened to her.
So in the comic, the demon caste that she comes from, because she wasn't a fallen angel. She was born, you know. So she looks human. Even though she's got the same powers where she can grow the claws, she heals, she can teleport, she's super strong. She's of a group that, like, even though she's a demon, she doesn't hate God, and she's not, like, out against other angels. So it's very much like the Shotgun Mary anti-hero type of a thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad that they let her get there over the span of 2.5 episodes.
Yeah.
Because you were really questioning her motivation and what she really wanted. And, you know, it was when she did what she did to Sister Crimson that you're like, okay, she's a good guy. Sweet. Sweet. But yeah.
It's like, she's a good guy, but there might be something a little bit there's definitely something more to be told. A story, her back, or not, I won't say backstory, but her journey, transition from her journey from here to hell to back.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting too, because of who she is and the family that the influence that her family holds in the church of that universe. It's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they do with her moving forward. I really hope this gets a second season.
I really hope so.
I
really hope so.
So I watched it all. Like, so I got the email from Netflix saying it was live. And then I was watching, I finished it in like 4 days the first time. And, I got 3 emails in that time, like, hey, don't forget to finish Sister Nun or Warrior Nun. And it's like, okay. And then it's like, hey, rewatch Warrior Nun. I'm like, okay, Netflix, I will. I mean, I got you, man. I'm talking about it this week on the podcast, so I planned on doing that anyway. But I'm gonna take a break from my Sarah Connor rewatch, and I'm gonna watch Warrior Nun again.
Another great show.
Oh, it's so. I forgot how I did. Oh, let me rephrase that. I forgot how much I enjoyed that show, and I'm only on the 5th episode of the first season. But yeah, so I hope this does well. I love all of these characters. I like they all went through a story arc in the first season.
Absolutely.
From Ava's A story to, I feel like, Mary and Lilith were B story. And then even Camilla went through a bit of a change there. And then I think like the DF story. Well, yeah, Beatrice is a whole thing onto her own. But then the whole thing with Cardinal Duarte was the nice D story, and especially everything with Mother Superior that went along with her, and finding out that she was a warrior nun that the Halo rejected was such a cool addition to her story, and it made so much sense to why she was so hard on Ava, because she didn't feel like Ava deserved it, even though in this world God chose her.
and that's what I like about shows and when movies do stuff, when they do payoffs, like you're wondering why a character is acting a certain way, and then and sometimes a movie, or the story puts it, just kind of like throws it to the sides, like
Right.
it's not important.
Right.
But this, like when they do something like this where it gives such meaning and understanding to that character, just that one scene where she tells her about her being rejected.
Well, because she saw the scar on her back. That's what led to it. And otherwise she was just an angry penguin. And and it's like, I'm sorry, that was disrespectful. Anyway,
elevator going down, Brian.
Dude, it's been going down for years. Like I have no qualms about going to hell. Oh wait, I do, because it doesn't exist.
Mark Pellegrino's Lucifer is waiting.
No,
for you.
John Glover's Lucifer is waiting for me from Brimstone.
Oh, that's another good one,
dude. That's not streaming anywhere, and it makes me so sad because
I know I've looked, like every now and then I'll look for that show and I get pissed because I can't find it.
It was only 13 episodes, and it is gold.
I love that show.
Anyway, I don't know, like Beatrice's journey. So, I told you before we started. There's a whole group of people out there who are shipping Ava and Beatrice, right? And Beatrice admits she's lesbian, but she's a nun first, and the church comes first.
Yeah.
And she even says, like,
and
they're like,
her character.
Right. And they're like, why don't you quit? And she's like, I joined the church for my eternal soul. So she, like, the church comes first to her. The OCS is important to her, but she was ready to leave when they kicked her out briefly. Because she's not just about demon fighting. She's about being a nun. And so all these people online who are shipping this, it's like, man, you really don't understand the Catholic Church, and you don't understand, like,
Beatrice's character.
You don't understand, like, the life of a nun. And the everyone always talks about the sacrifice priests make. Nuns make just as much of a sacrifice, if not more, because honestly, more is required of them. And the faith that you have to take on that role is, it's impressive. And, as you and I definitely differ in this department. Like, you have faith. I really don't. I just don't. And, but I enjoy your faith. I do. Like, I know I make fun of you every time we eat together, but, but like, I enjoy these stories of faith, and I've always enjoyed, like, stories, and I enjoy religion as a history, and, like, what it means to people. But I think
just because something doesn't necessarily mean something for you,
right, doesn't
mean you can't appreciate what it means to somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, but, like, for the people who are shipping this, right, it's like, all right, if they do that, that is literally an assassination of the core tenet of Beatrice's character. Not 100%. Just character, not character as in written story, but character. And it takes away all of her agency as a character.
Yes.
If they go down that line. So,
please don't.
Simon Barry.
Please don't.
I implore you, keep Beatrice. And like, you seem to have a really good grasp on this, because, like, Shotgun Mary is not a nun, but, like, she even, like, respects the vow that these women take. She even, she agreed to follow the 10 commandments except for 3 and 8, which I found really funny. Speaking of Mary, when she pushed Ava off of that cliff, that was just amazing. That was so amazing.
Yeah,
and I really liked their relationship as that grew.
Right.
When she was mocking her, that's not how kids talk today. And that little laugh that she made when she followed her just killed me.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
But
so
one of the things I just love the actual sisterhood of, and again, I kind of mentioned it earlier when we start talking, when we first started recording, is that just watching these women together. And again, it's a family, and again, they have no compunction, quite literally slapping each other in
Oh
the
yeah,
face,
they'll slap.
but
Yeah,
they will all die for each other
Yep.
too. And I love that again, one of the things you were talking about, that commitment of
Yep.
Beatrice to the faith.
And it's all
But
of them to
there's-
the faith. It's literally all of them. I mean, even Mary to a certain extent. And it's great. Like you said, they are a sisterhood, and there's nary a traveling pant to be seen. And, you know, it's just, it's.
And it's just,
It was just all really
again,
good. It really was.
And I don't want to. I am going to harp on it, but this is a perfect example of how you do a show led by women and make it kick ass.
Yeah. All right. And so. Oh wait, no. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So real quick. So Simon Barry created this show, right? He wrote a couple episodes, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 of the 10 episodes either had a female writer, was written by a woman, or directed by a woman, or both. So, you know, I think this is a really good show. If like we're talking about representation, right? This is because I mean representation is a big thing right now, and I'm never going to be one that says don't let people, like, you know, you have to do it at this point, because it is important for little kids and young adults and people like who are struggling with a choice of who they are, to see characters being fully formed and everything in there. I think this is a show, while, you know, I probably give this like a 7 out of 10, maybe 7.5. But like, I think when it comes to the way they handled representation and things like that, it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And again, it goes to the point of being fully formed.
Yep.
And that goes with that goes with, that doesn't matter if it's representation or not, you know, a character has to be fully formed to be captivating. We can talk about tons of shows that it has nothing to do with representation. The characters just suck, and the writing just sucks.
Yep.
You know, again, like, I followed The Flash for 6 years now, but the last couple years the writing has just sucked.
Yeah.
And it's just sucked. That there's no way to sugarcoat.
Like, I think a really good like show to look at in comparison to this is Jessica Jones. Mm-hmm. Netflix went out of their way to only have women writers, directors, whatnot, and it got to the point where I don't think they had the strongest writers room.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know,
especially with season 2.
I'd go season 3 before I'd go season 2.
Oh, crap. Season 3. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that's what I meant, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Season 3.
And like, this is a great mix, right? You've got female directors. Sarah Walker directed several shows, not to be confused with Chuck Bartowski's girlfriend. Amy Berg wrote a bunch of episodes. Sheila Wilson, Suzanne Kelly wrote a couple episodes. Terry Hughes Burton wrote 2 or 3 episodes. I mean, like, you know, it's just a great example of how you get the most out of your team, and it's a diverse team, and, you know, I will say, I think episodes 3, 4, and 5 kind of meandered a little bit, but episodes 7, 8, 9 are amazing.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that, you know, the 7 and 8 are written by the same writer, and then 9 and 10 are written by the same writer. So that's an important part, that continuity sometimes, where I think shows, and I don't know, you know, why it does this, but when they have individual writers for every episode. Yeah.
Which, again, I'm not saying it can't work, but there's something to say for continuity of having a singular vision for for what amounts to a 2-episode arc or something like that.
I mean, 1 and 2 were written by the same writer. 3 and 6 were the same writer. And then I'm sorry, 3 and 7 were the 3 was written. 3 and 6 were directed by the same person, And then 5 and 6, which were also written by the same writer, which, again, that's where we got the majority of the Mary Ava relationship building.
Yeah.
Team building, if you will. I will say the Demon Village probably was something we didn't need as much of as well. But it could have been a half an episode instead of a full episode.
Right.
But yeah,
I get why it was there, but it didn't need to take up the time it took. Yeah.
So, and again, I think if they had cut this down to 8 or even 9 episodes, like they could have tightened that up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about real quick was the action in it.
The fight scenes are John Wickian.
Yeah. There and again, it's funny, the only fight scene I didn't buy, because I'll explain it, was the flashback to Aurelia.
Yeah.
And the reasoning is I saw some of those shields bend.
Yeah.
Like when they were doing, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is bad.
Yeah.
But like overall, like with especially that, the like you called it, the Black Widow scene with Sister Beatrice.
Oh yeah.
I loved it.
Hey, it's another Netflix action movie with a hallway fight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like I said, I'm very impressed with everybody who worked on this show. And while it's not perfect, it's very good. It was well worth the time. I'm happy I watched it twice. I'll probably revisit it again in 6 to 8 months.
Same here. I will too.
I'm hoping 2021 we get the second season. I don't want to wait too terribly long for it. You know what I would love is if Netflix would take some of these shows and be like, hey, we're going to shoot 20 episodes all at once. So we have 2 seasons and we can release 2 10-episode seasons 6 months apart. And, I think that would be a really cool way of doing it, because then they could take and do the next 2 seasons and go from there.
That's how they've done actually a couple, like they're doing that with Lucifer season. I granted, I don't think they finished the last couple episodes, but
God damn COVID.
This last this season's going to be split up into 2, like 5A and 5B.
Okay.
Where like August 4th, I think, like the first 10 episodes are out. I think it's 10 or 8, and then after that, they've been doing that with Sabrina too.
Sabrina got canceled today. Did you see that?
Yeah, it did. So, yeah, I haven't watched the last season. So.
I haven't watched any Sabrina. I haven't watched any Lucifer. That was a horrible noise I just made.
Yeah, I don't even know what that was. But I like your idea. And currently, Warrior Nun is number 2 in the U.S. today.
Nice.
Behind Unsolved Mysteries.
Dude, apparently Unsolved Mysteries is legit. The 6 episodes are supposed to be really, really good. So
yeah, it's been in the top spot all week.
Yeah. Well, everybody loves Unsolved Mysteries.
This is true.
Does it have the same, like, no, the guy who hosted it died, right? John, whatever his name was.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably gonna watch it at some point. So.
But yeah, as for I never gave my rating, so I would put this at probably a 7.5 as well. Again, it just, for me, I loved Buffy when it was around. Again, Buffy's not quite as good for me on the rewatches I had. Don't get me wrong, I still loved it.
So we just rewatched it as a family.
Yeah, you did,
and it was great to watch
the whole Buffy, all of it.
Yeah, all 5 seasons. So no, we watched all 7 seasons.
I'm proud of you, Brian.
Yeah,
I'm proud you watched those last 2.
Honestly, season 7 isn't horrible.
Yeah.
Season 6 is way too much Tara. Actually, seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 are way too much Tara.
I like Tara.
I didn't. I think Amber Benson is a great director for short films. Was not a great actress at that time. Yeah. So.
No, yeah, that's true.
She's very wooden. Kind of pulls Allison Hannigan, who's a fantastic actress, down with her. But yeah, it was really cool to watch it through Haley's eyes for the first time seeing it.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
And I don't think you can do Buffy now, because like if you do it in modern time, cell phones are going to ruin everything on the show. like because people are going to be videoing it, and there's going to be the episode where she gets caught and blackmailed into doing something stupid, and I think that's like wholly unnecessary. Where I think a show like Angel could probably still work a little bit because it always happened like literally in the shadows, kind of like a strike team. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't want to see I really don't want to see a Buffy reboot.
I do not want a Buffy reboot. I do not in any way, shape, or form. No, thank you.
And then I think the things that have come to light about Joss Whedon make the show a little bit of a bad look now as well.
Yeah.
So and I think if you look at Buffy and you look at Angel, whereas like David Greenwalt was the showrunner for Angel, you can see how it's a much tighter show. But I mean, in all fairness, the other thing is it has an all adult cast. They weren't working with teenagers. Because
got a problem, beat me.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, she never had like Tom Welling face as an issue, but she definitely like in later seasons was a much better actress. So
absolutely.
I mean, and Tom, I love you. You turned out amazing, and the after season 2, you were fantastic.
Speaking of, he was in Lucifer.
What's Lucifer?
Much.
Is that does he like wash his back and he has to get a new sponge every 3 to 4 weeks? Ha! I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who can't talk.
Yeah, it's word-free Thursday.
Words are hard.
But yeah, he was a main character in season 3 of Lucifer.
Oh, cool.
Season 3?
Yes.
Was it 3?
I don't know. I've never watched it.
Yeah,
I gotta check it out.
I'm having a conversation with myself.
It's on my list. It's on my watch list. So it's been there since it showed up on Netflix a couple years ago.
I will say this though, is that the Netflix season, partially because it's only 10 episodes, so it's much tighter, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
So much better than any of the other seasons from start to finish.
Nice. Good to know. So. Good to know. All right, my friend. Anything else?
No, I implore people to watch this show. It's so much fun. Yeah. It has something for everybody too. So.
Absolutely. All right, so wrapping up the episode, check out so in the show notes I have links to the Warrior Nun comics that are on Comixology. I have links to the Boys and the Umbrella Academy comics that are on Comixology. Also the links to both trailers. We have a link to the Bounding Into Comics story about Ava DuVernay, and links to the Variety article on Javicia. I think that's how you say that, Javicia. Javicia Leslie on Variety. And then obviously the rundown for Warrior Nun, but definitely check that out on Netflix. It's like you said, it's got something for everybody.
And yeah, that's
cool.
Pretty much it.
Yeah, don't forget to check us out. We're on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere there's a podcatching app, we're on it. If you have a favorite app that we use and we're not on, how are you listening to us? But check out our Patreon, infamouspodcast.com, for links to everything. You can check out our shirt shop over at that was hard to say and I said it right. Over at flyingporkapparel.com. We have some really cool shirts. I'm kind of partial to our fictitious language shirts. So we have an Arabash Infamous Podcast, and we also have the Cohen X-Men language Infamous Podcast shirt, which I love. Those are great little talking points when you're out in public and people are like, hey, what does that say? So or you get a really like nerdy fan who's like, hey, I know what that says. I'm like, awesome. So I do too now. I did all along. Anyway, but yeah, cool. Last words?
Again, I just say watch it. Just take a look at it. Have some fun.
See, that sounded really menacing. You're like, watch it. Take a look at it.
Watch it right now.
Go watch Warrior Nun.
Yeah. Watch Warrior Nun and have some fun. Oh, look at that.
Boom.
Rhyme. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Bars. I stole that from Tyrone Magnus, by the way.
All right. On that note, we'll see you guys next week. And Darryl promises never to do that again. All right. Later.
See ya.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @InfamousPodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Later.